everybody. Welcome to Pink Shade. You guys, I'm so excited about my guest today, like literally dying. I'm beyond excited to talk to today's guest. I'm a huge fan from way back. I've been to the stand-up shows. I watched My Life on the D-List. I read all the books. And of course, I watched the Bravo talk show, Kathy. And welcome to the show, the one and only idol of mine, Kathy Griffin.
Oh, I love her. She is fantastic. Mary Payne, you are my dream audience member. You've read the stuff, you've watched the shows.
All of it.
All of it. And come to see me live even?
Yep. More than once, many times.
Many times. You're a repeat customer. Thank you. So you know that I change up my show every time.
Yes.
I change it show to show, certainly tour to tour. But I tend to open the show with local material where I make fun of the city that I'm in right to their faces.
Good. Yeah, you should.
Why not?
I live in the DC area, so I mean,
oh, gold mine.
It would be the opening and the middle and the closing. It would have to be the whole show.
I will barely get to my act because there's so much to talk about happening in DC.
We've taken girls' weekends and gone to see you up in Jersey.
Yes.
We've done it all. We've done it all. Now, currently you're on tour, and the closest you're coming to me, I think, is like Jersey and New York.
I went to Red Bank, New Jersey, and I did Tarrytown, New York, and oh gosh, one other city in New York. But in October, I'm going to play Carnegie Hall on October 26th. So that'll be really special. It'll be my 6th time playing Carnegie by myself, which means I will have broken the record for the most times that a single female comedian has played Carnegie.
That's incredible. Who had the record before?
Oh, you know, my girlfriend, Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers, yeah.
And she would tease me about it. She'd be vicious. She'd be like, Carnegie Hall, you're trying to beat me. You try to do everything I do. I'm sick of hearing your name. And we would laugh, and she would give me crap, and I just lived for it because there was nothing more fun than when Joan made fun of you, even though deep down she was like the sweetest person you would ever know.
Yes. I since they put the D-List back on Peacock.
It's back on Peacock, Mary Payne. I can't believe it. It just went up. Nobody told me, and I own it. Although I think Peacock has like a right to show it if I didn't sell it to another streamer.
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled they're showing it. And I love that people get to rediscover my mom and dad, who were just naturally hilarious. And I want people to know, look, as imperfect as that show was, and God knows I haven't watched it since it aired, so I would probably be mortified at the stuff that I did, but it really was real. Like, I don't even know if there's a reality show out there in these days that's that real, because they would tape with me for 6 months for 8 episodes.
Yeah. Yes. Those episodes are long. I just was like, because I watched it when it was on, so I was like, I think what I'll do, because I knew I was going to talk to you. I was like, let me just sit and like refresh. Well, I watched the entire first season. I didn't miss a minute. And then I kind of skipped through. I watched a lot of the second and then kind of skipped through to 6 because I wanted to try to remember what happened. But my God, on that show, you went through 2 home remodels.
Yep.
A divorce.
Yep.
Many hairstyles.
Lots of bangs.
Lots of dogs.
Many dogs. I have 4 now.
And the death of your dad on the show.
My dad passing away, which was like, we had to deal with it because he was such a big part of the show.
Of course.
And then I had to worry about my mom because she was grieving. And I will say, as difficult as that was, after my dad passed away, believe it or not, there were times when my mom would not want to film and she couldn't get out of bed, and I don't blame her. But luckily, she loved the crew. And so the crew would kind of get her up, and then she loved getting her hair and makeup done. And look, it was hard for her, but I felt like those couple of hours that we filmed with her, she really kind of rediscovered herself. And I was grateful, believe it or not, that we had the show, because it really did help cheer Maggie up. And then she went on to tipping her box of wine. She's now tipping her box of wine in purgatory, because I'm not sure if she's in heaven yet.
I have to tell you that some of those phrases from that show, I was laughing so hard remembering it from when I watched it before. And it was like the tippet
Yep.
and the hilarious with your parents with just like they get a coffee mug, they'd fill it with their Chardonnay and they were good to go.
Oh,
They were
yeah. And
good.
the weird thing is, my parents were such, and I'm not going to say they were alcoholics. They just enjoyed the drink. Let's go
Yeah.
with that. But
Okay.
like, my mom would have like a glass of soda, and then she would like half finish it and then just put wine in there. And they didn't care. They didn't
Yeah.
clean the glass. They had their ways that were so unique that I was so flattered when Bravo would come back and they would say, more John and Maggie.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you got it. So I'd invite him over. And the tippet, what really that means is at a certain age, my mom and dad migrated from bottles of wine, and their favorite was $2 Chuck, which I don't even know if they make anymore.
They
But
do.
then they switched to, they do?
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, it's still gross.
Of course it's gross, but it's cheap. And then they switched to a box of Franzia. And that way, if they knocked it over, the glass wouldn't break because it was just a box. And then it had a spigot. And my mother would say, tip it, Kathleen, tip it. So you get every last bit, tip it. And now I do my shows and I talk about Maggie for a sec, and I don't make it sad. I make it fun. And people just start yelling tip it from the audience, and it just touches my dark, blackened soul.
Yes, I love it. We have a joke here on this podcast about my mother and her Chardonnay habit. And we call it hot car Chardonnay
Yeah,
because my mom and her sister will go on road trips and they'll be in the back seat. And if it hits
yeah.
4:58, it doesn't matter if they're in the middle of nowhere. It's 4:58,
It's
so it's
5
time to drink.
o'clock. It's 5
So
o'clock.
they'll get out that hot bottle of wine and
Yeah.
pour it into an old cup of Diet Coke that they got from Chick-fil-A.
What is that about? They use the Diet Coke cup.
They're like, it's a cup. It had some ice in it earlier, and so we call it hot car Chardonnay. We're like,
I mean, that is genius.
disgusting. It's
And
disgusting.
right, and isn't there like residual taste of the Diet Coke? They don't care. They don't care. And here's my question: would your mom drink it through the straw?
Oh, if a straw was an option, absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
so
she would.
straw
Yeah,
optional. Straw optional.
it's
Okay,
optional.
I respect that. That's a. But you know why? Because she has a plan. She has a plan that she execute like an expert, and that's what my parents were. My
Yes,
parents, and by the way, I don't know if your mom does this, but my parents' car was like, it never looked messy, but it had all the essentials in the trunk. It had a
yes,
box of wine, it had 2 folding chairs in case they would ever be driving around and notice if somebody was like filming a movie or a TV show, they would just pull up with their freaking lawn chairs, like
yes,
lawn chairs, and start drinking. And they would watch TV shows being filmed because we live in Los Angeles,
yeah,
but we're from Illinois. So
right,
they could never get over that, like, you can stumble upon a movie being filmed at any moment.
yeah.
So they were ready. And of course, they had blankets. And there might be some snacks involved as well.
Well, you never know what could happen. You need to be prepared.
They were kind of like doomsday preppers, but
Yeah,
it wasn't really for doomsday. It was as if doomsday would be a world without wine, and they were not going to let that happen.
they probably also had paper towels, I guess.
Oh, paper towels. My mother with paper, Kleenex, paper towels, but my mom would reuse paper towels.
Oh,
And
okay.
she told me she was saving the ecology.
Oh, okay. Well, you know
She
what?
thought she was saving a tree.
She could be saving a tree. You know, my father-in-law does a lot of reusing of the paper towels as well.
What
And he's
is that?
how old would your
Are
mom
we going to
be?
start doing that at some point, Mary Payne?
Probably. I've got a couple tissues over here that may or may not contain like a throat lozenge.
Okay,
Yeah.
my nose runs like water. I have
Yes.
a tissue with me at all times, and that means it's official. I have turned into my mother. It's done. The
Oh my gosh.
transformation is complete.
How old would your mom be right now if she was with us?
Honey, she lived to be 99.
Are
Okay,
you
kill me
kidding?
now if I live to be that old. My dad lived to be 90. And let me tell you, they weren't exactly health eaters. I mean,
Yeah.
they would go to a happy hour and get like nachos with the Velveeta on top and be like,
Mm.
this is delicious. So I don't know how they did it because they did consume copious amounts of alcohol. And I say that with love.
Yeah.
But Yes, I am terrified to say I have the genes, but I will say, in my mom's defense, she was really, really sharp up until like 95. Like up
Hmm.
until 95, she was still watching Fox News and yelling at the TV,
Sure.
and she was still having her wine. Although I convinced her that Rachel Maddow was a guy on Fox News, and I know that's inappropriate, and I'm sorry to the LGBT community, but I had to do it to get my mom to watch Rachel Maddow. So
Okay.
my mom would say, Rachel Maddow's my favorite guy on Fox. And then I got Rachel Maddow to send my mom an autographed picture of her that said, Dear Maggie, I love it here at Fox. Keep watching. Love Rachel Maddow.
That's amazing. That's
Amazing.
amazing.
I don't even know Rachel Maddow, but she sent a picture to my mother.
Hey, listen, I had my Larry King send a picture to my mother when I used to work at CNN.
Of course, he was a legend. Once
thrilled.
Larry King had my mom on Larry King with me as a guest, and then she just kissed his butt the whole time, and she was a total phony. And she said, Oh, Larry, I hardly ever drink. Kathleen just makes things up. And then they brought her a glass of wine, and she just started drinking it on the air.
Oh my gosh, that is so hilarious. I'm telling you that I was going to ask you if you had started a rewatch. I don't think that you would be horrified at all. I think that you would be like, this is a good show. Like it
I want
holds
to do
up.
one of those rewatch podcasts so bad. And I did a pilot with my former assistant, John, who now is a big gun at Netflix.
Mhm.
But I don't know if anybody would listen to it, but I haven't watched it since it aired. So I watched the first episode, which I just want to say I was exhausted watching it. Like, I love that show and I'm proud of it, but they put me through the ringer.
You were running up and down the stairs.
Locations.
Yes.
I was in one city for a few minutes of the episode. Then I was on a plane in another city. So they did work my tail off because reality was still really new. Like, remember, the big reality shows that were my contemporaries were Nick and Jessica and Osbourne's. And so it was before The Hills where they gave them scripts and Kardashians where they give them scripts. And like, so now those shows are called soft scripted. But let me tell you, my life on the D list is as real as it gets, honey, warts and all.
It was so great. I think that a rewatch podcast is an amazing idea. It's an amazing idea.
It would be fun. It would be fun.
I would, oh God, listen to the shit out of that. So a couple of questions about the show and then we can move on. Now,
Sure.
that house that we saw on the show that looks like a
Yes.
spaceship, are you still living in that house?
No, I moved from the D-list house. It's been remodeled twice. It's on the market now. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
And that was a great house. But
Yeah.
I will say it became a problem because people kept coming over and ringing the doorbell at all times.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, there's the house that's on TV. And
Yeah.
it was such a unique house. You can just see it like from a mile away. So I moved to Bel Air where I live next door to Kim and Kanye.
Well, just Kim now, I guess.
Just Kim. But this was the salad days when they were happy and they just had 2 kids. And they were my next door neighbor for 2 years. And they were the greatest neighbors I had. And I'm just so grateful it wasn't being next door to Caitlyn because I don't believe in her political hot takes where she transitioned and now she's against trans people in sports and goes on Fox News. Caitlyn, how could you
Interesting.
do that to us? But
Yeah.
next to Kim and Kanye was fun. Like there was always crazy stuff like Chris, of course, Kim's mom bought them a Rolls Royce golf cart
Sure.
and Kim would drive it around the gated community. A Rolls Royce golf cart. I never even heard of such a thing.
I mean,
That's
just
money.
That's money to burn. Money to burn.
And I think sometimes the Kardashians, I think they just sometimes burn money. I think, I can't prove it, but they might have a fire pit in their house where once they're done printing it, because they do, then they might just have so much they're like, bah, and just throw it in the fire.
They're like, who needs these 1s and 5s? It's good for
Yeah,
nothing.
them.
Burn
I'm
it.
cool. I want to warm my hands.
Well, are so you still live next door to Kim? Is she still around?
I wish. No,
Yeah.
now I live in Malibu, but I have a
Ooh.
whole new group of celebrities to make fun of.
Okay.
So Now my neighbors are everybody from Mel Gibson to Gary Busey to Sean
Stop.
Penn to
What?
Bob Dylan to Martin Sheen, who came over for dinner one time, which was like having the president from the West Wing
Yeah.
my house for dinner. I practically cried.
Yeah.
And so I go on my walks. Oh, and I live 2 blocks from Barbra Streisand.
What about
Can you
Cher?
imagine?
Is Cher out there too?
Now, I don't see her, but sometimes I just look at her gate because you can't
Okay.
see even the house or anything. But I'm reading her book now. So I think when I walk past her house, she's in there curating this garden she has.
Mm.
And then she's got all kinds of crazy things in her house. Like, have you heard she has a mall in her house?
Well, I knew Barbara Streisand had a mall in her basement.
Wait, isn't that who I'm talking about? What did I say?
I said Cher.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Cher lives about a mile away.
Okay.
Streisand has a mall. Cher does not have a mall.
I was about to say there's 2 malls.
That would be too many malls for Malibu, even for me. Although Mel Gibson has a Catholic church in his backyard.
It's not working out for him.
Mary Payne, what does that even mean? Is that legal? You can't just build a Catholic church in your yard, can you?
I don't think Maggie would have liked that.
No, she didn't. No, Maggie went to St. Monica's where she felt there was a good chance she could see a celebrity. And
Yeah.
that's basically how religious she was. She would only go to celebrity churches.
Mhm.
But I don't know about that. Mark Burnett has a church in his backyard too. And I'm not going to get one. I just don't think it goes with my brand. And I just think it would be weird to have a church in your backyard. So I'm learning more about Malibu every day. And there are many people at the grocery store who avoid me. And I just see them going like this.
Ah, well, that's
I'm
rude.
used to it. I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will tell you another thing from my life on the D list. I wanted to find out the update on Tiffany, Jessica, and Tom.
Okay, Tiffany and I are still good friends. She came over recently. She moved back to her hometown, which we did an episode in her hometown.
Mhm.
She has 2 adorable daughters. She brought them over, but I'm not going to lie. I was exhausted for 2 weeks when she brought those 2 girls over.
I bet.
They are whirling dervishes. They were up and down. They were laughing one minute, crying the next, playing with the dogs, then scared of the dogs. And she was just being a mom like this, like everything.
Yeah.
She knew when to give this one the sippy cup and when to tell this one she was on a timeout. Okay, Jessica lives in Arizona. She moved back to where she's from. She texts me about once a year. I love her. Tom moved back to Missouri to take care of his mom and dad.
Okay.
And we texted a few months ago. And so I miss them all. I'm glad we're all in touch. And you know, it's a great nostalgic thing. So at some point, I will sit down and rewatch the shows because I'm like, I know I'm going to be watching the D list, and there's going to be stuff that I'm going to be like, I don't even remember filming that. I mean, I'm just saying, part of the D list is you run ragged every minute. Like it's, you know, I'm doing 40 cities on this leg of the tour. Then I'm doing like 20 more in the fall. And like I said, one of them is Carnegie Hall, which is going to be amazing, but they're all amazing. I don't care if it's Cleveland or, you know, Baltimore, wherever it is. I'm going to Canada. In 2 days, I'll be in Canada.
Wow.
All over Canada. Oh, and Canada never canceled me, which I very much appreciate. So I don't expect any protests there. But I've had protests at a couple of my shows,
Really?
and I just gotta laugh. I gotta laugh because it's been almost 7 years since that freaking picture. But then the Trumpies online, like Kevin Sorbo or Chachi, they repost the Trump picture like once a week. Chachi hates me. Chachi hates me.
Doesn't that hurt your heart? Because we all loved Chachi so much when he was on TV. He was so cute.
When he was Chachi, he was lovable.
Yeah.
And now he's off the deep end. And now he just puts up my Trump picture periodically. And, you know, they come after me online and all that. But I just got to laugh because I'm so grateful to be back on tour. I didn't know if I was ever going to work again.
Kathy, I cannot believe that was 7 years ago.
Can you believe it?
No,
I know.
It feels like it was either 20 years ago or 2 years ago. Like, I can't
Right.
quite in my mind decide if it feels like so long ago because the
Right.
world has been through so much.
Yes.
I can't
And
believe people
also,
protest.
just the fact that Trump is sitting in a felony criminal court right now, and I get to be on the road again, is perfect schadenfreude. I'm so thrilled. But I will tell you, and you might be surprised to hear this, I don't even mention Trump in my new show. So
Good.
it's not that like I'm afraid of him because there's kind of nothing more he can do to me, but I just have so much other stuff to talk
Of
about.
course.
I have kick-ass celebrity stories. I have stories about Paris Hilton. I have stories about Sia. I have stories about going out with Rosie O'Donnell, which is, we're still very good friends and nothing has changed. And so all that stuff I love bringing to the show, and I mix in the PTSD list. I mean, the PTSD stuff, because I actually have it. And so I talk about all these crazy treatments I do to just feel normal and regular. And so I can get on stage and do my thing. But I'll tell you, I am the most relaxed when I'm on stage. And I know it sounds like I'm making that up, but I might be trembling during the day or have certain symptoms or whatever. But when my feet hit that stage, it's something comes over me. It's muscle memory, call it what you want. But I go, I know what to do. I get a sense from the audience in the first few minutes. Some of them want more political stuff. Some of them want more personal stuff. Some of them want more celebrity stuff. And then we go on this like ride. And you've been there. So it's imperfect. It's very improvisational. Some of the stuff works. Some of the stuff you just got to be patient. I'm working it out. But I love changing up the shows and making each show unique.
Y'all, nothing gives me more confidence than a new outfit. I love when I put on a new outfit, especially in the summertime and you're going out and you're looking cute. And then you're like, I have underboob sweat, and that's really not cute. So that's why I want to tell you guys about Lumi deodorant. It is a whole body deodorant. It is powered by mandelic acid to deliver outrageous 72-hour odor control everywhere from your pits to your feet, and yes, even your privates. In fact, it was patients concerned about private part odor that originally inspired the OBGYN who invented Lumi. Flash forward 6 years, and they've earned over 300,000 five-star reviews. You guys, my husband has even heard of Lumi. When the box came, he's like, hey, I've heard of that. This is like an all-over body deodorant. I mean, really. So it is seriously safe to use everywhere. Seriously, you could put it, we call it in the summer between your thighs. We call it the chafe because you get the chafe between your legs. So Lumi, you can use it on your chafe, your under boobs, your thigh folds, your belly buttons, your booty crack, and your feet, and the other downstairs area. Again, it was created by an OBGYN, so it is totally safe to use all over. It can block odor for up to 72 hours. It is formulated with that acid that'll stop the odor before it starts. It's more like a pre-odorant. It's baking soda free, paraben free, pH balanced for safe use below the belt. Some of our sister wives are always looking for things that are pH balanced, so we should let them know about that. They always need that pH balance for that sister wife coming in. You can choose from a variety of fresh scents. I like the toasted coconut because I like everything that's coconut. Now, Lumi also has a starter pack that's perfect for the new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, a cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. You could get like a little mini body wash, deodorant wipes. I got the deodorant wipes, and I'll be taking those with me on my trip to Mississippi, and you get free shipping. So, as a special offer for the listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code, which is Pink Shade. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack, y'all. Okay? So you're going to go to lumideodorant.com and insert code Pink Shade for 15% off your first purchase. Okay, lumideodorant.com. That's 15% off. And the code is Pink Shade. LUMEDEODORANTE.com and use the code Pink Shade. I was going to ask you on the show, you have a comedy. You're like, this is my comedy book. And you would just go through and make bullet points.
Yes.
And you hadn't like written out a set or written out jokes. You would just have the bullet points and then go from the bullet points. Are you still
2 hours? 2 hours.
You still do that?
so old-timey. I still have my comedy notebook, which is just a notebook that you get from the drugstore, and I just write down a topic. Like I'll write down Paris Hilton Christmas party, and
Mhm.
that's like a whole 15-minute story. I'll write down Sia in Mexico, and that's a whole 15-minute story. So to this day, I bring out my old-fashioned comedy notebook. I still put it on the table next to me with my bottles of water, and I have to stop for a lot of sips of water because of my throat, but I still use that method. And you know what? It's the way I've been doing it for decades, and it's really the only way I know how to work. So, I look at somebody like Jerry Seinfeld, who I think is not a fan of mine because I think he thinks I'm not like a real comic because I make it all up as I go along. But
Mm.
Jerry like sits at a computer, writes an act. He knows where the commas go. He knows where the periods go, and it's perfect, right? Well, that's his method, but to me, that's almost like being a monologist. And so I personally would get bored. So I like changing it up, and I feel like the audience knows they're getting new stuff, they're getting rocky stuff, they're
Yeah.
getting solid stuff, they're getting a little bit of everything. But man, I am not kidding. The audiences on this tour have been so forgiving of my voice limitation. Because I wear like the special headset mic now that really helps.
Yeah.
But I get to roll around the stage now and be physical like I never could before. And the audiences have been on their feet every show. And I know I sound like a jerk bragging about that,
No.
but it means the world. I thought I was going to go to my grave not being able to ever do stand up again. And I'm just so grateful. Every single show, I love it.
It's got to be exhausting though, because I was looking at your schedule and it's like there's 1 or 2 days between, and it's like Canada, Michigan, Washington, and I'm
It's
like, well,
Raleigh, Durham, and then Toronto.
you
So
got to be
I am
tired.
all over the place.
Yeah.
And I go where I need to go. I have a system of unpacking. I have all
Yeah.
my systems. I'm so corny, but it helps me get in the mode, especially with this PTSD, because I'll be honest, I don't know when attacks are going to come. Like I
Mm.
woke up this morning having like this buzzing feeling that gets in my body. And I start to go, oh no, I don't want to have an attack. Because when I get, okay, this is gross, but when I get PTSD attacks, I just vomit. Like I
Oh
get
my
so
God.
nervous I start vomiting, and then you can't do anything. So I was so glad to have all these interviews today. I'm doing like 8 interviews today. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to feed the doggies. I'm going to go put on my makeup. I'm going to curl my hair. And I put on my silly music. I put on Pandora, Backstreet Boys radio. Yes.
Yes.
And so that gets me in the mood. I'm kind of playing with the doggies. And so honestly, just doing this gets me out of my own like demons in my head. And this is fun. This is what I like to do.
It's got to be so hard. And can you explain a little bit about the PTSD
Yeah.
and what all of it stems from initially, and then kind of how it snowballed?
Okay, I don't know because the psychiatrist and the oncologist both said it's PTSD because I've had every test known to man. And so I think what happened was the Trump thing combined with most of my friends ditching me, combined with being completely out of work, I became addicted to prescription pills. I tried to take my life. I got into recovery. I then got diagnosed with lung cancer, even though I never smoked. They took out half my left lung. I was injured during the surgery, so they permanently paralyzed my left vocal cord. I have an aperture above my cords, so my voice is a bit altered. And I think my voice being changed and being a comic after the cancer surgery, I kind of think that put me over the edge because after that surgery, I was cancer free and I've been cancer free. My scans are clean,
Wonderful.
but I could not, okay, sorry to be so gross again. I couldn't stop vomiting for 10 months.
That's
I was
crazy.
down to 87 pounds. I was shaking all the time. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't keep any food down. I couldn't even take a sip of water. I was going to the ER constantly getting saline drips just to get me up and walking around. And then I went to see a doctor that specializes in PTSD, and I now have a team of things that I do. Like, this is corny, but later on I have a breath work class.
Okay.
And so for an hour, I lay on the ground and this instructor teaches me how to breathe in a way that calms me down, gives me exercises I can do when I'm having my fits or before a show or something. I do Kundalini yoga. I do acupuncture. I do cupping. I do therapy. I do EMDR therapy where I hold these little buzzers in my hands and they kind of retrain my brain to not go to the dark place, but go to the happy place. I'm on every vitamin. I'm on every herb. Do I know if any of it works? No. It's probably half BS.
Yeah.
But I make fun of all of it. And I do some of it on stage because some of it is so silly, you have to see it to believe it. One of the things that I do is I'm supposed to lay on my stomach and slither like a serpent while making this sound. Oh, yeah.
And what's that supposed to do?
It's supposed to get me out of my head, and I pay someone who taught me how to do that. So at any given moment, you could see me just at my house on my stomach, slithering around like a serpent, making an S sound.
Okay.
Now, I mean, here's my philosophy. It doesn't hurt. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not taking a narcotic. I'm still sober. Yeah, I'm slithering around like a serpent. So what? I've done crazier things in my life. So I just do it all. I do the kitchen sink, and somehow it gets me up and around.
Wow.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, tell me how you started these salon lunches that you're doing with all these, various celebrities of various levels. It seems like this is something that you've started that we're able to kind of get a glimpse into. And I have two friends that have been Kate Casey and Meredith Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they say it's just like no phones and we're just going to talk. And tell me about those lunches.
The greatest thing. I am trying to bring back the lost art of conversation because we're on our phones all the time. We don't even know our own friends as well as we used to because we don't listen anymore. Right. So I have these salon parties and they're very formal. I make everybody dress up. If it's mixed, the guys have to wear suits and they always bitch about it, but they always look great. And here's the thing. When people dress up, they behave better. So it's a little psychologically mind trickery.
Okay.
Then I have it catered. I have place cards and I cast it like a play. So I purposely put like an introvert next to an extrovert or somebody that would never meet the person next to them. However, I do not allow side conversations. So if I have 12 people, which is the most I can fit at the table, 12 people, only one person is talking at a time. And if you start a side conversation, I yell at you and you're shamed. Oh. Also, you have to ask permission from me to go to the bathroom, and I don't always grant it because I don't like the disruptions. But the no phones at the table is really the game changer.
Yeah.
And I always go and leave it in your purse. And I don't want to hear about your checking on your kid. That's BS. You're just texting somebody. Your kids are going to be fine. They all have my number if there's an emergency.
Yes.
And the food is good. And the caterer always comes up with a theme for the food, which is just extra magical. And just the little thing, and they usually go about 3 hours, wow. Just sitting and listening to people and talking to them and strangers meeting celebrities and celebrities meeting strangers. And it's just like we start a text chain and I put everybody on it. And at first, if there's a couple celebrities, I can tell they're mad that I put them on a text chain with strangers. But after each one of these salons, would you know that text chain continues for months? Yeah. For months, because you feel like you've really gotten to know somebody, like Kate Casey, who does a podcast called
Reality Life with Kate Casey.
Reality Life with Kate Casey, sorry.
Yeah.
She's fascinating. She's a mom of 5. She used to be a White House intern and interned with Monica Lewinsky, yep. Who also came to a salon, but a different salon. But I didn't know that about Kate until she came over, because I make everyone go around the table and say just a little something about themselves, even the famous people.
Yeah.
And so it's been revelatory, and I want more people to do it. So steal my idea, have a salon. You can do it with 4 people, but be strict about the rules. And they're kind of life changing. And let me tell you, when I lost so many friends during my DOJ investigation, the whole Trump nonsense, those salons really kept me going. And
Hmm.
it's a way to get to know more about somebody you barely know. And I try to put in one young person. So I'll bring one person like in their 20s, and they can tell us older folks what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's just a fun thing to do. And you don't have to have it catered. I'm just being fancy. But
Yeah.
just try one, and I promise you'll like it.
That's incredible. I love seeing sometimes when you post like who was there. And like I said, I've
Yeah.
known a couple of people. I'm like, oh my goodness. I know Kate had such a great connection with Sia. And
Sia came.
how would she have
Sia,
ever
who
met
always
Sia?
wears the wig
Yeah.
down to her mouth. She came and Sia sang because she's just can't stop herself from singing. And so I put her on the spot, and she'll sing Chandelier or Titanium. And one time she made my friend Mo Collins cry because Mo had been through cancer, and she
Mm.
would listen to Unstoppable by Sia. And Sia sang Unstoppable, and then went and hugged Mo because Mo was emotional. Like, you never know what's going to happen when people actually sit down and talk to each other.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And do you feel
Yeah.
that with the friends that you lost, do you have any of them come back around and apologize to
No,
you?
no. And can I tell you something? I laugh at that question because I get it all the time. Not one. Not one. Not anybody from CNN. By the way, the guy who fired me from CNN, Jeff Zucker, got me too'd out of the business. And still, no apology. I'm still banned on CNN. I'm still banned every place. I'm still on the D list. I might as well do that show tomorrow. I used to tell them at Bravo, look, whether cameras are here or not, that's my life. That's so the D list continues. It's just without cameras now. So I'm still getting in trouble because I start fights with the most powerful men in show business. And while I bitch a lot about being out of work, I do admit I tend to start a fight with the powerful guys because I always think if I negotiate like my male counterparts, and I've seen them be tough, like I've seen the guy comics really get in their faces or whatever. And I thought, oh, I'll do that and I'll get equal pay. Well, I was wrong. I still think it's really tough being a chick in comedy. And I
Yeah.
said chick because there's still a stigma that women aren't funny. And the biggest challenge that I face selling tickets to this tour is getting people to take a chance on a female comic to begin with. Because most straight guys, if they have only a certain amount of money they're going to spend on a comedy show, they're going to go see Chappelle, they're going to go see Rock, and I get it. But let me tell you, ladies and gays are a powerful audience. It's my army. I'm thrilled they come see me over and over again. It's a demographic that I actually still think is being underserved. So give a lady comic a chance, and I hope that lady is named Kathy Griffin.
I absolutely would. I told you that, my friends and I saw you several times in DC, and then we went and
Oh,
traveled and had like a girls' weekend and went to New Jersey. And I'd never been
oh,
to Atlantic City, so I was like, being from Mississippi, I'm
the
like, what is this?
Borgata.
What is this place? Yes, it was so cool. We
Yeah, I did
saw
one of their specials in Atlantic City. Atlantic City is wild. I
when we
mean,
were
you
at that
get,
show, we saw
oh,
Bethany Frankel and her ex-husband Jason were there. Yes.
yes, I
Yes.
remember that because Bethany was telling me what restaurants to go to because she's friends with Bobby Flay. I
Wow.
remember like it was yesterday.
So, speaking of reality, tell me what reality shows you're watching. Because on the D list, on that first or second season, you were watching Project Runway, and I was like, "Wow, Project Runway's been on that long. Like, it just didn't even occur to me.
It's still on.
Still on,
Okay,
still good."
I'll tell you my obsession.
Okay.
I am obsessed with cult documentary miniseries. I
Okay.
watched Twin Flames. I
Yep.
watched the Mother God one where she was
Yep.
drinking colloidal silver.
Yep.
then they propped up her dead body and they were worshiping a dead body in somebody's house. Like, I admit that's really twisted, but I never met a documentary I didn't love. And
Yeah.
I'll even watch sports documentaries, and I don't even like sports, but I find them fascinating.
Yeah.
And the one I'm going to watch next is there's supposed to be a really good Bon Jovi one. In fact, Kate Casey recommended it.
Yes.
And what else did Kate recommend? She just recommended whatever I watched last, but she puts out a weekly list of what to watch.
Yes.
So I use her guide and I tend to watch it. I think there's a reality show she wants me to watch called Cayman.
Cayman Islands. So that's about Army Hammer's ex. It's Army Hammer's ex-wife that lives in the Caymans, and it's about. She just reviewed it, and I just listened to it, so I don't have to watch it. But it is supposedly it's like so bad it's good, kind of a reality show.
Did you watch the miniseries House of Hammer?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't miss any of that stuff. Mother God, I watched twice.
You have to watch House of Hammer. It's about that guy, Army Hammer, who's like a cannibal. Okay. So, sorry, I just had to tell the TikTok livers.
Yeah.
House of Hammer was fascinating. So I will now definitely watch Cayman. What channel is it on?
I have no idea.
Like how I say channel, like it's still TV.
No.
It's just a streamer.
I do that too. I do that all the time. I'm like, what channel is it? And they'll be like,
what network is it on?
When I go home to Mississippi, I'll go, what channel is it on? My sister's like, and I'm like, is it channel 4? She's like,
know that
oh my God.
Right. No, I will watch it. This sounds right up my alley.
Yes, there's so many good things out right now. There's so many good documentaries. I don't know. There's one called Baby Reindeer. And Baby Reindeer, it's a true story. And it's this British guy.
Writing it down? Hold on.
Yes, Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer.
It's Netflix. And so Baby Reindeer is about this guy. It's a British guy, and he's a struggling stand-up comedian, and he's a bartender. And this lady comes in and kind of hypes him up as like a like, oh, you're so funny and you're so cute. And so he's always kind of flirting with her to make himself feel better. Well, she turns out to be a full-on, full-fledged stalker, crazy person. And
wait, so is it like she catfished him?
No, she.
Oh, so she was upfront about who she is.
Yes.
She just turned out to be a stalker.
She kind of created in her mind that they had this relationship that they didn't. And then he would have to be like, you need to quit following me around.
Yes, I've had that.
Yes, I've
had Trumpers come to my house.
Yeah. And it's like she loves him, but she wants to kill him. And then there's this whole side story of him being assaulted by a male who told him he's going to help him get a writing job, and then sort of drugs him and assaults him.
Okay, can I just say?
It's so good.
It is dangerous being a stand-up comic these days. I am not even kidding. And I blame Will Smith. You heard me. The minute he slapped Chris Rock, I went on then Twitter, which is now X. Blech. But I used Twitter when I used to love it. And I said, you mark my words, this is going to start happening in comedy shows, and they're not going to have the protection of an entire televised crew who's going to come along and have the opportunity to fix it and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, getting stalked by a fan and then getting assaulted. Yeah. Stand-up comedy has become a dangerous business. So, I have security. Like, I'm just going to admit it. I have security at my shows like you wouldn't believe.
Well, you should.
I have to. First of all, the world has gone crazy, but there's a certain part of the crazy world that has decided to focus on me, and they ain't letting go. And yeah, I'm talking about Chachi again, but I have to think about this stuff every show. So yes, I have lots of security.
Okay. Another question for you. Do you have another book in you? Because God knows there's so much material there for another book.
You know what? I would love to do another book. I'm going to be honest. I'm not up to pitching because I'm like rejected out. Like I'm dying to do a special, and so far nobody wants to do a special yet, even though I'm ready like as of yesterday. So I don't know if I feel like making the rounds and being like, I really have a lot to say, I promise, and I'll make it funny, because you got to go to every publisher and sub-publisher. But the time will come where I get it in me to go, okay, I'm going to write the pitch. I'm going to start doing those calls, and I'll do it again. I'm just taking a minute. I think because I just filed for divorce 4 months and 7 days ago. So I'm still like reeling from that, and I'm heartbroken, and I'm trying to mend a broken heart at freaking 63. I thought I was going to be with this guy forever. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, let me calm that stuff down. And then we'll see. I'll ask my managers and agents. And I'm glad to even say I have managers and agents because I didn't for almost 7 years.
I think you could do your book outline like you do your comedy, right? Just open your
Yeah,
comedy book and just make bullet points of what you would talk about in your book. It would be like a two-parter. It'd be a huge
that's a
book.
good idea.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that bullet points because then I can speak freely and I know how to do it.
Yes. And one thing I want to tell you that I repeat that you said one time at a stand-up show that I saw.
Right.
I say, you may not remember saying this, but I repeat it all the time. I credit you with it.
Okay.
That one time you were in, you told the specific story. You were at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm from Mississippi, not the coast, but I'm from Mississippi. So
Yep.
that story stuck with me. That guys would come up to you and be like, "Hey, girl," and get the signature, and you'd be like, "And here's my wife." And
Honey.
you said, "I can't decide what it is with these Southern guys. Are they gay or are they Southern?" So we
Right.
say that all the time. Are they gay or are they Southern? We said it when we were in Paris recently too. Are they gay or are they French?
I
Yes.
mean, let's just cut the crap right now. Let's not act like, and it is more common in the South, admit it, that yes, I will be at what would have been a book signing or a show, and the guy comes up and he's speaking gay, and I'm double lingual.
Yeah.
I speak gay and English.
Yes. Yes.
And it'll be, "Hey girl, love you girl, you're so fierce." And I'm just thinking, okay, this is a nice gay guy, and I'm signing his poster or whatever. And then he goes, "And this is my wife."
Yes.
And I'm the worst because I've been saying like, "Hey girl" back.
Yes.
Like, "Hey girl to you too. Hey girl, hey." And then there's the wife and I'm like, "Hey girl, hey. Hello. Hello, sir." I mean, it just gets me every time. So I just got to laugh about it. But every time I say that joke, the audience laughs because they know what I'm talking about. Everybody's got that relative or that person they work with. And it's just the unspoken.
It's so interesting. And so you say that all the time. I go, it's like what we say. I did a episode recently of Chris DeRosa's podcast called Fixing Famous People, where they fix famous people.
Ooh.
And my subject was Todd Chrisley.
Yes.
And it's two gay guys that have this
That
podcast,
guy's gay, right, Todd?
Well, no, he talks about, how he loves to bang his wife. So he's in prison. It doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, I'm not sold. I don't care. And my goodness, the guy's in jail, so he's a felon. But that guy seems very gay to me. Yes, I'm making a judgment.
Yes. So Chris and his podcast partner Dominic were they were speaking on it, and I said, "Well, I can't speak on it. You guys can, but I can't." I said, "I'll have to quote Kathy Griffin. Is he gay or is he Southern? I don't know. And so I say that all the time. The jury's out on Todd Chrisley.
Yep.
Listen, I know that you have a lot to do today, and I just want to tell you that really, when I tell you, I am the fan that you want. I'm the books, I'm the stand-ups, I'm the D-list. I watched every episode of your Kathy show, the talk show. You had great guests. Remember when you would get your self-tanner all over the white couch?
I had the best guests on the Kathy show. It's now on Apple, which I didn't even know. But it was 3 guests at one time on a couch, like Graham Norton. And I told Graham, I said, "I'm stealing your idea." But the craziest things would happen on that talk show. So I didn't even know it was on Apple. So it's on Apple.
I didn't know that either. I was going to ask you if they're going to put that on Peacock. I figured maybe it was Bravo.
I
they could
hope
put
they
it
put
over
that
there
on Peacock too. And I hope they put my specials, because I think I did like 16 specials for Bravo, some like 17 like that.
Wow, I lost you there for a second, but I don't know. I lost you for a sec, but I got you back now.
I know there was
Can
a
you hear me?
Okay, we're back.
There was a glitch.
We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Listen, tell everybody where they can find all about your stand-up, where to find you, where to come to the show.
Okay, first of all, please follow me on TikTok and Instagram and go to kathygriffin.com for tickets for the Kathy Griffin My Life on the PTSD List tour. 40 cities on this leg, probably at least 20 on the back end in the fall and winter. And get your tickets now. Don't be shy. Bring a friend, bring a gay person, bring a lady, bring anybody you want, even bring a straight guy. I'll make him laugh. But
Yes.
come on and have a good time. I do 2 hours, no opening act. Come be on time and let's have some fun.
Everybody, I will tell you from going to many of these shows, and I'm hoping to go in the fall on this leg. You will have a great, great, great time. And also, I will tell you, both of Kathy's books are great. And go check out My Life on the D List on Peacock. It stands up. It's still a great show.
Oh, I so appreciate it, Mary Payne. Thank you so much.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.